Alright, welcome back to Jordan's Medieval Brawl. We've got ACCM spawning here on the left side. The blue trunks has the Aztecs, that nice infantry and monk civilization. Opponent today is Vinchester, the pink trunks. It's the Franks, a nice cavalry and castle civilization. There, the Franks. Always been quite a dominant civ with that quick castle drop and that really solid cavalry line, or both cavalry lines, I should say. ACCM not going to have access to cavalry at all, but he is going to have some wicked infantry, siege, skirmishes. So there is a little bit of an eco benefit there for Aztecs and just general military train speed. Bonus starting gold too, though that might not be hugely consequential. So we're here today on Canyon. Not so sure. I don't think you can really build on these inclines at the side of the map. But you can build above them, obviously. Oh, there's the skills. I was going to say, had that replaced the skills. So we've got Loom on the way, and probably age ups for our players as well. It's got the festive town centre on, by the look of it. So early barracks here for ACCM. So ACCM probably be making fairly heavy use of the racks all game, I'd say, while our French player would be looking to try and go for a barracks just to really get a stables or a range out. Probably a stables. So both our players aging up. ACCM's had behind Vinchester's. He's already started this militia production. With the bonus gold and the extra train speed of the Aztecs, he might even be able to go up to 3 or 4 of them already. There we go. It's already mining some gold as well. So be able to really shit these guys out. So actually that bonus starting gold for the Aztecs probably starting to come into play here. Because on top of that, if he cuts militia production, he'll have an easy time getting the gold to go for archers and for castle age. On top of that, you know, just given that he's already mining gold and gets that 50 extra starting gold as the Aztecs. Our Franks player, for now, just going for that stable's going to start the scout cav production. Just trying to harass a little bit with the scout cav that he has got. Keeping an eye on the Aztecs player, seeing that range go up. Well, I don't think we'll be seeing any more military production get placed down for our Franks player for a little while yet. I think he'll probably just opt to try and blacksmith and castle over trying to get an archery range himself. But Vinchester going to be able to basically wall everything in there. Everything nice and snug for the moment. ACCM just trying to find a soft point, see if he can potentially engage the farmer if he's gathering right out in the perimeter of the farm. Because you don't really want to dive the villager while he's here. But if he's over here, you know, you might be able to have a chop at him without really losing any of your military. Now we got 5 scout cav. So this infantry gonna have to try and really focus fire here. I don't think ACCM should have stuck around there. Considering he only had the 4 infantry, so he loses 4 military for 2. So I mean, when your opponent's only got 3 or 4 scout cav, they can't really fight against 3 or 4 infantry, but once they get up to 5, they get that nice surround, these guys can definitely chop through them. Especially considering the Franks, they'll have that little bit of extra health. Now we've got spears and archers moving out, so these spears will be a little bit more impactful against scout cav. On top of that, if the archers don't get surrounded by the scout cav, they can obviously get off a lot of free damage because they are ranged. And so for now, Vinchester looking for an opportunity, but sort of not made his way around to the gold. Just deciding to come back because he knows ACCM's looking to try and inflict a bit of damage here, so a quick wall. It's going to block the archers from pushing off the rest of those bows momentarily. It's long enough for Vinchester to at least get back in position, although one of these villagers is going to get focused. She's not going to get brought down though. Not yet anyway. ACCM trying to not get surrounded by the cavalry here, but I don't know if it's gone as well as he'd hoped. So Vinchester should be able to clean up that pack as well, and right now it's out to 10-4 in favour of Vinchester. He's, you know, definitely seemingly mustered enough scout cav to deal with any of these little skirmish armies that ACCM's been putting together. Perhaps he's needed to wait in a couple more spearmen, go with those. Because right now he's really only making archers, which, I mean, as good as they are, he's going to probably need a bit of a critical mass. Really mess up these scout cav. I mean, having both is probably ideal, because at least he can chip away at the scout cav before Vinchester engages, but the spear's definitely going to trade a lot more cost effectively. Really force Vinchester to have to think twice about engaging here. So with villagers assisting in the fight there as well briefly. When one of the scout cav getting walled in. It's going to be rough for Vinchester now. And so ACCM going to pick up, it's that 5 kills for free there basically. Not losing anything other than a little bit of resources, getting that quick wall up and a slight delay in gathering. But I think that was definitely worth it for ACCM and not so worth it for Vinchester. He's sort of undone all of the early value he'd gotten out of ACCM trying to overextend and force some fights. He probably should have waited on a couple of more of these cheaper H2 units in. I mean, archers and spears really aren't that cheap, but I think at the same time, your opponent doesn't really want to commit to too many scout cav because it's, you know, tying up his potential to put that into knights, take that quick castle age. So 2nd and 3rd stables added now for Vinchester. He really wants to just double down on the Franks. Boost to their, well, just all their cavalry health really. You know, that plus the cheaper castle means it is really hard to engage French in head-on fights. And then they've generally got the easier time just plonking a castle down on front resources and really denying a shitload of what would be naturally your resources. Ooh, ACCM going to get a nice catch here, picking off that villager. And this other farmer. Under a bit of threat too, you're going to have to garrison. So ACCM just patrolling. Denying some gathering on these farms for the time being. There is some scout cab to come and clean this up. But they are going to need to get on top of that low archer, and they're probably going to need a buddy or two. Archers again threatening Vinchester's economy, so slowing him down a little bit. Not going to get any kills, but at least until he actually loses units, at least he's pulling ahead in terms of denying gathering. But now that he is going to bleed some of these archers, he's trying to fight on the best choke he can, but ultimately that little skirmish army is going to fall. This one over here, not doing a huge amount, just delaying a little bit of gathering. Again, I don't know if it'll be worth losing the archers for this, considering Vinchester is again starting to pull ahead on kills early on here. Sort of gone from 4 to 2 to 10 to 4 to 10 to 9, and now it's 17 to 10. So Vinchester, even though I think he's dropped the villager here at some stage. Oh no, he's gone for the quicker castle. That's probably what it is. ACCM switching back to Eagle Warriors now. Going to be a lot stronger in fights than the Eagle Scouts were. And they're going to be good against the cavalry. On top of that, playing around the barracks means he can switch to the trash spearman unit a lot easier, rather than if he was playing around rangers and then trying to switch back to adding more spears. It's probably the best way to take fights into the knights and the beefed up cavalry of the French player. So you'll probably be looking to get a handful of monks, ACCM, because they actually are quite a bit tankier than regular monks once you actually start getting monk techs. So they get an extra 5 health for each monk technology that you research. So it can be a little bit harder for cavs, civs, and archer civs to try and snipe off you, or you can really rely on having nice, beefy infantry, well not beefy infantry, but high attack infantry. It's mines to get the really beefy eagles, I'm pretty sure. A little run by here with some Eagle Warriors. He's going to pick up a village or two for ACCM, so now he's pulled ahead by 5 over Vinchester, and he's chased the cavalry back under the tower in the town centre. So these guys are going to retreat now. But they forced a lot of garrison. That's what he's really doing. Tying up Vinchester's eco. Is Vinchester going to need to de-garrison everything there? There's a lot of villages to have not actually working right now. But in saying that, a couple of units falling. So Vinchester ahead on kills, but I think he's had to idle a lot more of his eco. And ACCM now has a pretty hefty force of these eagles. Some more units just back up there to defend. So Vinchester, while he's not pushing out, is having to try and defend a couple of different spots in his base, and ACCM, even though he split his army up, this force should be able to take on any, I guess, minority of the French force, unless he sort of engages with everything. There's only a handful of knights here for it, then it could be goodbye to them. Looks like all the knights are in tow though. And if they end the light cavs around this, I think this could be a good trade here for Vinchester. Because ACCM will be looking to try and deny the relic, but at the same time, yeah, that monk's definitely going down, but the Eagle Warriors not going to want to stick around with the entirety of the French cavalry there. And now, with all the infantry coming to back this up, not quite all, but most of the infantry coming to back this up, the town centre is going to get placed. The cavalry being converted now. Vinchester's just deciding to go for it, even though he's going to have to fight on a town centre. The opponent not going to fight against a cop with that much health until the rest of the infantry come in. So now ACCM going to try and push through here. He's not going to want to fight in there. He wants to actually get a good surround. He's actually got the unit count advantage, so he definitely wants to have the better concave here. Whereas the French player actually has the tankier unit, so fighting in a tight choke is actually better for Vinchester there. And ACCM not quite getting the engagement he was looking for. Some of the units not really wrapping around to get that nice surround. Vinchester may need to pull back here because he's fighting under that town center, and the monk getting a conversion, going to be able to heal a couple of units up before it goes down. And I mean, converting a knight fall into light cavalry probably worth it because at least he's got the knight. He can always heal that guy up. But more villagers having to try and come through here because there's now no more gold there. We'll enter the town center, which will mean more damage done to these knights. Vinchester streaming more cavalry across the map now. He probably could deny maybe this wood or the gold. Another couple of villagers here off ACCM. So Vinchester's actually pulled ahead on the villagers earlier. He was trailing on it, but I think he's managed to squeeze that second and third town center down faster. ACCM's only on the 2, and on top of that, a couple of villagers being picked off there, but now we've got a knight here for the Aztecs. Actually got the same health as the French knight too. It's pretty cool. A couple of scout cav trying to get on top of the monk. One of them being converted, because our Aztecs player hasn't actually gone for any monk techs yet, so these guys are still just as squishy as they normally would be. So we've got a monk falling for actually a monk getting taken low but not falling. A light casualty being converted there. Vinchester taking advantage of that cheap castle French players have. He's able to throw that bit. Yeah, we'll start chipping away at the gold of ACCM now. Just going to put a forward outpost in, and he's in for a bit of a shock. Vinchester's just going to take out the outpost, make sure his opponent's not really got any vision of what armies backing up around here, because our players will probably be looking to get Imperial soon and keep mustering up an army to try and push alongside the trebuchets. Could be a good catch here by Vinchester, but saying that, there's an awful lot of infantry for ACCM. Well, Vinchester to try and take out this town center going down from ACCM. Vinchester backing off momentarily, but he might have caught the monks here. This could be quite big if he can pick these guys off, take out any conversions and any healing in the fight. So it looks like he snipes all the monks there. That's really big because it's costing ACCM 400 gold just like that. Even though the resource cost of the knights is overall more expensive, a lot of it's, food, so it is still a trash resource, whereas gold, 100 of it going down the drain there. That fight really rough for ACCM. I think he was expecting to try and ferry those monks in safely in time. On top of that, he brought some spears back here, to clean up at that town center, which he probably could have had over here as well. So he's not taken pikeman upgrade, and I'm pretty sure Aztecs gets it. So we go to our barracks. It's just interesting, he hasn't bothered to get pikemen yet, even though, it's another 10 health, another 1 damage for them. Just makes them overall a little bit stronger. Doesn't up their cost or anything, so I mean, at some stage he's probably going to want to switch to... Yeah, in fact he's got majority spear at the moment once again, so it's been interesting to see him not bother going to pikemen just yet. This wall-off's not really complete either, so Vinchester might be able to cut through here. At the same time, he's keeping his Aztec opponent busy over here. ACCM going to try and garrison at the gold. Try and mount the fight just at his barracks, and while all the knights have managed to sneak through here because there is a gap in the wall. So this is looking rough for ACCM. He's trying to push out and deal damage, but he's just sitting in front of the town centre there, so he's not going to get any great value out of that. And meanwhile, he's going to have 2 town centres garrisoned, so his economy is really slow at the moment. I do like this little gold gathering, very sneaky, but at the same time, he's going to have to try and keep it hidden. We'll try and wall it in eventually. ACCM a very scary force up here, so be able to keep topping up these units. Another nice trade for him, getting all those defending units without losing anything. Going to heal up, but at the same time, has he got enough to try and clean up the knights? Actually, he might do. Vinchester's not paying attention to those, so could be a little bit rough for him if he trades. Yeah, he's got pikemen now, so if he trades into the knights, it'll be a great fight for ACCM. And now Vinchester. His harass was really nice there for a sec, and he's pulled ahead by a lot of villagers going for this forward castle, but at the same time, did drop that army at the side. And this one over here, so ACCM is military, winning him back in the spot back in the game. Now he's be able to start denying some more gathering over here, cutting his way through the top. So right now ACCM's military count is well ahead of Vinchester's, so Vinchester being denied over here, even though the bulk of ACCM's army is actually now starting to hit his base. So that big villager lead for Vinchester is starting to really close at the moment. So has he got enough here to try and clean all this up and get back on top of things, because things were looking really his way earlier. Right now that military count definitely favouring ACCM. That forward castle being denied. Big gap in the wall over here, some buildings being taken out and a lot of villagers being forced to garrison. ACCM could possibly try and hit this. I think he's just going to try and pull everything together here so he can convert some more knights. The infantry working away at more structures, but it's mainly the gathering being tied up here in the town centre is what's hurting Vinchester at the moment, I think. He's got a pair of castles here, adding a number of these throwing axemen, because these guys will be quite solid against this Aztec infantry. Oh, and this is very nice for Vinchester. He's managed to find the gold mines, so picking off a handful of workers up there. That's really solid for him. Keeping ACCM from pulling ahead on the villages at the moment. And now it's ACCM going for the wild forward castle. While his gold being denied over here, he might be able to deny this gold of Vinchester's. He's trying to pull up enough knights to just dive these monks at the moment. In fact, he's got a lot of light cav he's going to dive in first with, and then the knights follow, I think, because in that way he can have these guys cop the conversions. Yeah, oh, this is good for Vinchester. ACCM not paying attention there for a second. All the knights getting, all the monks getting singled out and picked off. But has Vinchester now got enough to take on the infantry, because ACCM continuing to creep forward, pinch the gold. For a defensive castle there for Vinchester. He does have enough, he cleans everything up. He's gotten all the monks and then all the infantry there. These guys now double the health they originally were at, because there's now been, what's that, 6 upgrades for the monks that ACCM's researched. Vinchester going Imperial in the meanwhile. The tankier monk's going to stand up a lot better against the cavalry, but at the same time, ACCM can't afford to have them just out in the open like that. And so Vinchester, I think, should be able to clean up that little force. And he seems to be getting back on top of things. The military count's really evened up. That vill count's still slightly favouring Vinchester, but he's about to lose a trebuchet possibly here. Yeah, he is going to lose the trebuchet, so that's a bit of an expensive blow for him. He's now got cavaliers, so these guys being super beefy. Pretty much have the stats of paladins, considering they're French cavs. Well, pretty much have the health of paladins. ACCM attempting to harass over here, but he's only got a pair of eagles, so if the villagers garrison, that should be fairly easy clean up there for Vinchester, who's denying the gold at the top side now. ACCM's trying to pinch the gold over here though. Got good vision of his opponent's incoming forces with those outposts. And again, a scary force. Vinchester's, you know, pretty even in terms of the military pop. So he's starting to raid with the Cavs. He's got trebuchets taking out structures all on the front of ACCM's base here. Inventing some more wood gathering here over at the side. So ACCM, is he starting to fizzle out with this push in the mid? Castle being brought down. These villagers having to back off now, and he's going to have to be careful, not want to run them through the castle there of Vinchester. Well, I think Vinchester's just ACCM's using this opportunity to bring all of his infantry in, try his luck at picking off that trebuchet. So perhaps this was used as a bit of a bait, but I don't know if it's really going to be enough, because ACCM still locked in Castle Age, still trying to get the value he can out of harassing here at these farms. But Vinchester harassing ACCM's farms. He's not managed to really wall himself in, getting another town centre up here, but he'll keep bleeding villagers while he tries to get that built. There's two light cav. He really probably could just select the villagers and focus them down. There's not a lot of health on those guys, but they're continuing to prevent that town centre from going up now. It's a little sloppy for ACCM to not notice and just kill them and get that town centre finished off. I think he definitely had the health on the villagers. Here might be a bit different because that's a cavalier, so they're a hell of a lot more tanky, like 124 health and more armor and damage compared to these guys combined have 18 health between them. So I think it's a bit of a mistake by ACCM not cleaning that up. And over here he's sort of fizzled out in the army. Barracks is about to fall as well. So GG, Vinchester takes the game.